Hey everyone, it's been a minute. I just thought I would come back because I've been seeing everyone do the mid-year book freakout tag, and I thought it'd be a good time for me to come back and just like chat, check in. I've been hella busy, as I'm sure we all have been. I am also a part of a magazine now, along with work, which is where I'm at now. Um, and it's called Womanly Magazine. I'll link it in the doobly doo. It's all about accessible health information for women and non-binary folks, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. We're currently working on issue 3, so if you want to know more about that, get in contact with me. Follow me on Instagram because I also post a lot of stuff there. Same name, Betty Reads. But yeah, I've been having a lot of health issues, and finally got to the bottom of what's going on. It was like lower back issues, and going to physical therapy later, and just been at it. This is week 5, so it's been a slow process and like hard for sure. But I'm excited to just know what's going on and be working on getting better. And yeah, taking the ups and downs of life. And the world is a lot right now with everything in the news. Is just every day is an onslaught of just horribleness for Black and Brown folks. So trying to like balance getting disconnected from the internet and getting back to reading. And I read Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds in like one sitting yesterday, and that felt really good because I haven't really had the energy because of my pain levels being so high to really read. So I was like so excited to finally like. I'm not gonna go back to like reading 5 to 8 books a month. It's probably not gonna happen because no time and things, life. But at least I can get back into the swing of things. Who knows? I'm going on vacation, going to Montreal this weekend. So I'm super excited. It's gonna be a lot of like seeing the city, not much like sitting and reading time, but I'm definitely gonna bring 2 books or something like that to just dip my water into getting back into reading. So yeah, I thought I would just delve into what I've read so far this year. I've only read 12 books, and I need to stop saying only because 12 books is still 12 books that I wouldn't have read otherwise. I do still go to book club every month. So I didn't go last month because, again, health issues. But it's called the Literary Swag Book Club, which I'll also link down below. And it's a super dope club. We get Don Israel is the person that puts it together, and he's like the editor in chief for Brooklyn Magazine. He's a professor at a college here in New York, and just involved in a plethora of things, doing the most. He's doing good work. But yeah, it's a super cool place where we just dress up, look good, talk about books. It's like the mixing of like books and fashion. It's fun. It's super fun. But yeah, the books that I have read because of that, it's funny because I looked at some of the questions for the mid-year book freakout tag, and the like biggest disappointment question, like that was the one book, only one that we didn't like at book club, which was This Will Be My Undoing by Morgan Jerkins. I forget what her last name is. She's like a debut author, and it was all about like, her experience as a Black woman in the world, but it felt very generalized, like she's generalizing for all people, and like it just comes across as like she's like mightier than thou, like sentiment. I don't know. It was just very off-putting for all of us at the club. So that was the only book that I really haven't liked. I'm trying to look at these questions over here as I keep glancing, but I think what I'm gonna do is like just go through the books I've read since there's not that many instead of like going through this the questions, even though it might line up. I started the year by finishing off the All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness. It's the Book of Magic. I think it's the first one. Oh god, I don't even remember what the first one's called, but the second one is Shadow of Night, and then Book of Life. And that it's a Discover Your Wishes is the first one. They're gonna have to make a show about it, and the trailer looks super dope. Also, we'll link that. I need to go through and do captions for this video, but one day. This will remind me to put that in the link. But yeah, it's super fun. Magic, vampires, fantasy. I haven't read a book like that, a trilogy like that in a while, because I think thought I was like over it or whatever, but no, it's super fun. And like the aunts are dope. Matthew and Diana, the 2 big characters, it's like feels very like it's too sudden. Everything's moving too quickly, but it's not really insta love. It's like a mix of like him being a macho male and like her trying to like suppress being a witch, but then having to step into that because of this whole world of wild stuff that starts happening in both of their communities. It's so good. I was so into it, especially more so because of the characters, like their family members, people that they know that they work with in the university that they're a part. It's just super dope. I was with it. I also read Warcross by Mary Lou, and I think Wildcard is the sequel that came out. Because I think it's a duology. That was so good. Mika, and it's like this world where she like it's like a virtual reality thing. It reminded me of like Ready Player One, but totally fucking different. So cool, and like I can't wait to see what happens because it leaves us in such a way that you're like I need to know more about this world, and like it just it reminded me of like Black Mirror and like what if a world was like this, like very high tech, and like everyone could walk around and you could see certain things like because of what you're wearing or whatever. Oh, I love books like that. It was such a good, so good. The next book I read was I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erika Sanchez. Oh my gosh, Julia, the narrator of that book, gave me all the feelings. It's all about how her sister died and like and her family really dealing with that pain and like there's so many feelings that she shares and like being Latinx, like I definitely identified with, and I was like, oh, I feel you. I hear you. I'm with you. Another book that I read because of book club was Real American. It's a memoir by Julie Lithcott Hames, and it's about her being biracial and like she's an older woman. She was actually at our book club meeting, which was super cool to like get to talk to her about her experiences and what she like went through and also what she might have left out and like because it wasn't her experience and like what it's been like raising children now but versus how dealing with being biracial when she grew up, which of course wasn't as such a accepted thing and like kind of like in the same Trevor Noah thing, like being born a crime aspect, which I think was super interesting to hear about. Another book that I read because of book club as well was The Changeling by Victor Laval. Ooh, that book is wild. It's a sci-fi story of this man, and there's like which also like there's a lot happening. I'm like I don't even remember specifics because that was back in April that we read it, but oh my gosh, it's just read it, just go and read it because he's amazing. And another book I read right after that was Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn, and this is an asexual main character, which I was so down with because I just like gotten so into like figuring out my own asexuality and hearing and reading about a character that like that's their identity and like their struggle with it, with like how they have to always explain everything to people and like how there are so many levels to being asexual and like how I myself identify as like very romantic asexual. I finally figured that out after years of like learning and searching because that's what you always have to do with anything is learn and figure out yourself. But yeah, I think reading that and seeing her go through the same thing, like the narrator, oh my god, it was like, and then like you get frustrated in the same parts, like you're like, I feel you, I get it. That's definitely like one of my favorite reads because I was like, I identify with that so hard. The next thing I read was The Best We Could Do by Thai Bui, and it's this graphic novel that's illustrated by her. It's a memoir of her life and like her parents journey, like migrating to the States and from Vietnam, and like it went down like around the Vietnam War, and it was just, ooh, it's a beautifully illustrated, like impactful story about like narrative and like the importance of narrative and telling the story and like how she um, got her mom and her dad to tell, like to share with her like what they went through, but also like there are certain things that she's not gonna know because there's probably not things that they didn't decide to share with her, and it was like, woo. Next up, I read Obsidia, which is the third one in the Illuminate Files. The Illuminate Files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff is done. Oh my gosh, the feels. But it's this wild, if you haven't heard, a wild collection of like emails, audio clips that someone's transcribing. Like there's different narrators and all kinds of madness happening in this like space odyssey type. It's just the characters. Everyone, each book has like two different main characters, but they all intertwine and like everyone kind of ends up meeting each other because it's like different battles and wars and shit gets real in the third one. So I can't spoil it because duh. But like, ooh, ooh. The last book I read before I had read Long Way Down just yesterday was Miles Morales by Jason Reynolds. I'm just on a Jason Reynolds kick because he's freaking brilliant. And that's like the Spider-Man retelling or like Black Afro Latino Spider-Man. It was so great to just read like him talking to his parents and like Spanglish and like dealing with like school, but then also dealing with like struggling with his powers going in and out, and like wanting to save folks, but also being like, I need to be responsible in school, and like just being a kid, and like it's very different from what the clip we got of the trailer. If you haven't seen the Miles Morales trailer, also the link there we go. All the links will be below. Um, and it's very interesting to see like this is what they're doing on the movie end is very, it's like another version of it. Like everyone has their own version of it, which is super dope. But yeah, that's a little bit of what I've read this year. Lots of really good stuff, except for that this will be my undoing book. I like, I'm interested to see what she does next because she is a debut author, but there was that. And I'm excited because right now, like for the last question of that tag is like, what books do you want to read by the end of the year? Since I just read that book, I'm reading Man by Kim Thuy. I really enjoyed her book Rue last year or 2 years ago, and I saw Jason Purcell mention this in a vlog of his months ago now. And I just was like, oh, I need to read another book by her, so I ordered it, and then I finally picked it up. And it's taken me a little bit just because health issues, but I'm very excited to get back into it now that I have all this energy from just finishing Long Way Down. And I also need to finish Air Traffic by Gregory Pardlow. He was at book club 2 months ago, or a month ago. Yeah, a month ago. I was in. But it's time. And it was super dope to hear from him about that's a memoir of ambition and manhood, I believe is the full title. So it's like you hear about his father's stories with like the airstrikes, because he worked in like the traffic control thing in the plane, world. And so hear about him, like he's the one that started like the strikes and like got all these, like, I don't know if it's unionizing, but like all this stuff happening for people. And then he was a dick apparently. So you get like, I'm just like halfway through, but like hearing, of course, people's like, you have to be willing to have book clubs that can be spoiled, because some people read it and they're sharing their thoughts, but sometimes I don't mind it, especially if the author's there. And it was cool to like hear him talk about his relationship with his father, and like it was a good conversation about like fatherhood and like our perception of ourselves based on our families. And yeah, but yeah, so I want to finish those two, and I think I went to BookCon. Side, I'm just rambling in this video. It's great. It's been a while. And I went to the We Need Diverse Books panel because I just went on a Sunday. That's all I could muster energy for. It worked out. And the Anne Marie McClemmer, I can never say her name. I was on the panel, and Wild Beauty is something that people have been raving about for a while. And I finally got the book. I've been owned The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, so I need to read that. And then I need to read for the finally, I need to get back into Tana French's books. I finished The Likeness, a year and a half ago, and I loved that wild ride. So I want to get back into her world, and I think that might be a good book to bring on vacation, because mystery thrillers are just the way to go. But yeah, I have a bunch of like books that I definitely want to get to, like Daniel Jose Older's Shadow House Fall, which is like the second one of Shadow Shaper, and he has a book on dinosaurs coming out, like Dr. Hill Squad. Freshwater by Akwaakwe Emezi. I'll write down the name in the captions. Binti by Nedi Okorafor. Like, there's so many books that have been out for a little bit that I just still want to get to. A Prince in Theory by Alyssa Cole is like a romance novel that has Black characters in it. I'm just all here for the diversity, inclusion, and all these books. And I have several books that I want to get to that I bought at BookCon. I got like 13 books for free. People were just handing out books, of course, because it was Sunday and people did not want to go back home with them. And then I bought like 15 books. I spent some money, but the deals were so great. It was great. It was interesting to be there though, and to see the book 2 panel and see like I met Ariel the set, which was great, because I feel like there's people in the community that like, even though I don't work on having big numbers because I don't care, I know them just through commenting and Instagram and Twitter. Like we're all friends here, so it's great to like see people and hear folks' thoughts. Yeah, on the book 2 panel, people talked about like smaller YouTubers, and some of the questions from the audience were interesting. And Christine Marie, I didn't get to see her around, but she's made some great videos about BookCon, and I'm so here for like what she is raising, and I'll link those in the description as well. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of start slowly making my way back to BookTube and YouTube in general, and let me know what you've read so far. What have you enjoyed this year? Pick one, two. Tell me about it. Anything that I've read that you've enjoyed. Let's talk about it. All right. I will talk to you guys whenever I talk to you guys. Let's just keep chatting on Instagram and Twitter. That's where I'm most active. Betty reads on both. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye.